What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big TCG show. So today, I quickly want to make a short video and talk to you guys about how trading card games can ruin your life. Now, hit that subscribe button, share the video, like, send me a comment, tell me what you think. Now, I've been playing card games since the original Pokemon set 1 came out in the early 90s, and then I played Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2002, and I started playing Magic the Gathering in 2003. And ever since then, I played different games. So, I played the Riddle card game, Battle Spirits Saga. I even learned the Zatch Bell card game, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z trading card game, One Piece, Flesh and Blood. So, all the works. And one of the things that I realized is there are a lot of people who will not take the time and take a break when needed to fix their life. So, for instance, if you need to, buy new clothes for school, go get a haircut, people don't tend to do that. Now, I get, life can get tough, money gets low, but you shouldn't be buying a meta deck at any card game that you're playing. Now, if you're playing like a really old deck that you've had for a long time, okay, cool. Like, let's say you played a legacy deck in Magic the Gathering. That's an eternal format for those who don't know. So, like, for instance, I stopped playing card games in 2009 from 2019 competitively when I was going to college. I was like, okay, cool. Let me go to this new stage of my life. Let me get a girlfriend, find a good job, figure out like a career and everything. So I decided to, stop playing. So I had a standard deck in Magic. And then by the time I came back, the deck had rotated all the way to Legacy format. That's how old it was. It was Hero Blade Hold and Squadron Hawks, and it was actually a pretty fast deck. So, I mean, I didn't win anything, but I did okay. Occasionally I might pop into my local card stores and, like, play draft or whatever. Okay, I got a free weekend. I got, like, 30 free bucks. I can do whatever I want with after, savings, paying bills. So I was like, let me go play a draft. It's like 20 bucks. And then, spend, like, 5 to 10 on food, depending on what I'm going to get. So I would do that. Now, I've met people who, they've neglected their wives and kids. They don't shower. They smell really bad. And it's just like, bro, like, you smell terrible. Even when I worked at a card store, I literally would take Febreze and start spraying everywhere. Like, I run up and down the aisles just to help mediate the situation, because a lot of y'all don't know, a lot of people, when they stink and they keep coming into like small shops, it can, stain the air in the store and just stay that way if you don't have good ventilation. I understand, you might get mad when you don't win a game and you've been putting a lot of time and effort into it. It happens. It happens. Some games are more luck-based than others. My suggestion is, take a month break if you don't like the meta or you just can't afford the deck you want to, It's like, go see a movie, go try other hobbies for a little bit that don't cost you anything. Go run in the park, exercise, especially exercise. I've noticed when I'm looking at people qualifying for larger events, your stomach area is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I realized when I was 19, I'm 36 now. I realized when I was 19, hey, this is a problem. So, me and my brother, instead of going to 5 tournaments a week, we said, okay, well, we can start going to the gym. So we started going to 4 a week. We just saved up money, paid up a year's worth to go to the gym. We just started doing that. And, we felt better. We changed how we eating. Eating all that fast food wasn't so good. So it's like, okay, well, before we go to the tournament and after, we're going to eat. So we actually meal prepped a little bit. I would eat like fruit before I went and I felt better. And then after the tournament, I would go home and eat. And, I had more money. I was like, okay, cool. I got more money to save, buy cards or whatever. So it was more of a balance that was needed. So you guys really got to stop and ask yourself, is my hobby worth sacrificing other things? Now, for instance, if you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, there's no cash prizes at all. So there's no Pro Tour. The prize support just now got stamps, and you still technically fall behind Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and Flesh and Blood. Actually, y'all fall behind all of Bandai. So realistically, I would not personally, and if you do, that's fine. I know a lot of grinders. I personally would not play Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively because the risk reward is not worth it to me anymore. I can still go hang out with my friends at locals. They want to go to regions. I can still go do the city, but playing the game itself and spending that kind of money and knowing that I'm not going to get, there's zero chance of me even breaking even in today's market, unless you're like a reseller and a vendor, is next to zero. But if you feel like, well, I got to play cards to make money, you can play the biggest card game in the world. It's been around for centuries. It's called poker. You know, do as you want with that. Don't come blame me if you make bad decisions. I'm just saying, if you really want to play money playing cards, poker is still king. That and blackjack. But anyway, so I realized that a lot of people have bad habits and then they just ignore life to play these games. And honestly, if that's you, please heed my warning. And I've seen this with other people. Take your time and invest in yourself. Invest in your health. I've met people, you know, they've had crashes. They've had teeth break because of crashes. I had some teeth chip because of that. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to buy cards. I'm going to go get my teeth fixed because that's part of my health. If you let your health go down, you don't live as long and you don't get to play the card games as often because, you know, you're alive. You see how this makes sense? So, and then, you know, you want to get your finances in order. Make sure your bills are paid. Save up money. Get a part-time job if you need to. Look at how you're spending your money on these hobbies. It's like, for instance, a lot of people look at me and they go, oh, man, you got a lot of money. You buy boxes. Well, one, there are a couple reasons. One big reason is all my older cards skyrocketed in price from all these games. I've been playing since the 90s. So that gives me advantage. 2, I resell. 3, I don't necessarily go to every local event. Because, for instance, currently for Flesh and Blood, we'll use this as an example. I have 4 events that I can go to locally every week. Now, 3 of them are $10 and there's one that's free. The one that's free, you just get the little entry pack and that's it. The other ones, you know, they hand out packs. So that's $30 a week. So if you think about it, if I were to go to those 3, 4 weeks in a row, that's $120. Or I could take a month off and buy a box and pull what I need to, most likely. So you just have to think of it in terms like that. That and I would actually save in gas too, because these stores in Georgia are not close to each other. But honestly, take a break. Go see a movie. Go check up on your family. Go do something else. Don't spend your entire life in a card shop, because you're going to wake up and be like, what have I done with my life? And I've seen people who've done really good, and I've seen people that, other than the card game, they have nothing going on. And you really don't want that to be you. You know, I understand doing the grind and everything. That was a lot easier when, you know, before I had a child, before I had a good paying job. You know what? Before I had bills. You know, when I lived with my parents when I was a teenager, oh, yeah, that could be your life. And you really have to understand it. One of the things that I realized is, if I'm going to use him as an example. So in the Flesh and Blood community, there's a guy called Brody Spurlock. He's a pro player. He's a really nice guy. He's really good at the game. He's able to play 40 plus hours a week. But when you think about it, you look at his age, he's like 17, 18. So he still lives with his mom. So he has the time and money to burn to do that. That and, you know, getting sponsored, working with a store really helps. So I understand the point of life that he's in, because, you know, I was there. The only main difference is Yu-Gi-Oh! Did not have, you know, a pro circuit. So, you know, I got to actually borrow a $300 card. At the time, it was a Necroface at Shonen Jump Atlanta. It was the last Atlanta one before, you know, Konami took over and everything. So I realized that, you know, the older players, they're like, oh man, he's really good. And I'm like, he has the time to invest. We have lives, we have children, we have mortgages and car payments. He doesn't have to worry about that right now. So as he goes to college and he ages into life, you know, unless he's making bukus of money from playing Flesh and Blood, you might not see him as often for a bit. You know, there's gonna be a time where he disappears for a bit, gets his life in order, and then he pops back up and like, oh, here he comes again. So, you know, have that work-life balance. But in the comment section below, let me know what you think. I'll make more videos like this, and have a great day.